Bum 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 ba-na-na. Bum ba-na-na. Bum ba-na. Dun dun dun.
Absolutely. And then last question, what Super Bowl win would you give up to get the rarest card in the world?
That makes me angry. I can't give up a Super Bowl win. The rarest car in the world. One to give up? Just buy the car. Boy, I'm not giving any of them up. Impossible. Well, no, we worked hard. We worked hard for those. You know what? You can't buy a championship, but you can always buy a card. Nope, don't talk about, girl.
That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you. And then the last one. TikTok is gonna be like, this card store looks like it's run by a goat, and then the camera's gonna flip to you, and you're gonna be like, this card store seems like it's run by a goat.
Trying my best.
Oh my gosh.
The courtroom was already tense, but the second the words death penalty landed, Tyler James Robinson completely broke down. This is the same man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, and up until that moment he had been sitting there stone-faced, acting like nothing could shake him. But once the judge made it clear the state was pushing for the ultimate punishment, all that tough act slipped away, and what followed was a meltdown no one in the room expected.
Let me be clear. I will not put my finger on the scale of justice. These proceedings will be open to the public, conducted in accordance with the law, and handled with diligence and competence to ensure that justice is never compromised.
See, this isn't just any regular trial. The state of Utah has thrown everything at this case, stacking Robinson against some of the most experienced prosecutors they could find. Defense team isn't light either. They've brought in multiple lawyers. That alone tells you how high the stakes are. But no matter how many lawyers Robinson, the judge reminded he said, but you could, it was like, explain they're not witness lit. He's got a stadium of wit. The judge agreed to push the case, but the state won. No, Your Honor.
So when I'm in a meeting, I just open this app called Echo, hit record, and forget about it.
Oh, this week, Donald Trump actually did it. His Gotham peace plan was accepted. AI slop videos are wreaking havoc on the internet this week. The winner of the Nobel Peace Prize was announced, and you'll never guess who it was. Drake just got cooked by a judge. Cristiano Ronaldo has just made history yet again. Oh, and it's North Korea's birthday. Who would have thought all of that? We are only 5K away. So, I think that is time to stop Big Ben and let's get Okay, guys, that is it. I freaking held off from talking about this last week, but now these AI Sora videos are getting out of hand. Not only do we have Jake Paul converting to Islam in one video, and then coming out as gay in the next.
An announcement in 3, 2, 1. I'm gay.
He's just more ball season, fully took control. It's a new she will not stop chirping. Listen to her. It's a slayer like us. Have a good one, guys.
But now, both the daughters of Robin Williams and Martin Luther King, they're having to go as far as begging the public to ask them, beg them, stop sending me AI videos of our fathers. I'm sorry, but what the hell is going on? Zelda Williams said that this is not what he would have wanted, and they're not making art, but rather disgusting, overprocessed hot dogs out of the lives of human beings. MLK's daughter said, I concur concerning my father. Please stop, bro. And let me explain to you what I mean. Sora literally allows you to create MLK's world-famous I have a dream sketch into this. Here's the thing, kind of like how I mentioned last week, it doesn't stop there. Major, largest creators in the world, in fact, are now also speaking out against AI. Mr. B said these are, quote, scary times, and then expressed concern on how this will impact millions of creators in the future. Casey Neistat, as we mentioned last week, said, my analysis, we are so... And also, just yesterday, the massive YouTube channel Kyrgyzstan, in a nutshell, they have almost 25 million subscribers, posted a video yesterday titled AI Slop is Killing Our Channel. But here's the question, where does this even stop? Because Casey Neistat asked his own team if they would eventually get sick of it, and they said this. Like the AI slop
I think this will get better.
you know, people can get sick of the fact that it's AI.
This is for South Korean answering yourself to anything. Like it's me being able to do everything I wanted since I was a kid.
What's the shape of the future?
It's fucking over. Yeah.
But here's the thing, it's not flat out bad. You know, there are many people that argue that this democratizes creativity, similar to how social media democratized entertainment, giving the power to the individual so that one day they can compete with the likes of Hollywood and large corporations like that. But then others say we're cooked. Like, for example, Robin Williams' daughter said, stop calling AI the future. AI is just badly recycling and regurgitating the past to be reconsumed. And then she likened it to taking in the human centipede of the content, and we are the ones consuming right from the end of the human centipede, which is a very dark reference if you've watched the movie, which, good lord, I hope you haven't. And I mean, it begs the question, chat, are we cooked? Seriously, what do you guys think? Because I will be honest, some of the AI videos that I've watched that have generated on Sora, they are undeniably hilarious, especially the Jake Paul ones. Bro, I don't even want to go into it, but damn.
Share some of you guys. Greg. Yeah, we're together.
Yep. But then, in saying that, is that not the main problem? Because if they are genuinely hilarious and entertaining, then even if you spend, let's say, 30 minutes watching AI slop content a day, that's 30 minutes that is being taken away from watching a real human, a real creator. And then if that 30 minutes goes up to 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you've only got so many hours in a day to watch content, unless you just plug our heads in and then days. And I don't want to hear one petition to start an AI version of myself. I'm already being flown. That's called news, baby. And let's not even get into that. What do you guys think? I genuinely, let's flood this in the chat. I only want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Moving on. Okay, this next story is truly wild. I was pretty shocked when I heard this. So, you know those devastating wildfires that tore up LA earlier this year? Well, on Wednesday, police arrested a 29-year-old man that they believe, quote, maliciously started the Pacific Palisades fires, which is the largest of them all, and arguably, and this is still out for debate, you know, triggered most of them. And let me just remind you, the total fires in LA this year, they led to the death of dozens of people and the destruction of thousands of homes. Like, genuinely, I remember seeing the content that came out of the fires early this year, and it truly looked like the apocalypse. In fact, the damages alone, the capital loss for these fires was up to 130 billion. With a B, it was one of the most damaging fires in LA's history. Now just imagine being the individual responsible for starting that. That is generational debt. Speaking of, this is the man allegedly responsible. His name is Jonathan Rinderknecht. Sorry, it's a German name, and I think that's pretty good. Any Germans in the chat? Rinderknecht. Rinderknecht. Pretty good. Anyway, he was an Uber driver at the time, and he allegedly started the initial fire 12 minutes into the new year, January the 1st. So, bro really said,
A lot of things that we have in place that safeguard those lines. One is like password that you can choose. We'll also have the ability to approve new devices that log into your account. So say you log in to your Kraken account from a brand new iPhone and you're in Miami, Florida. We're gonna send you an email that says, hey kid, are you trying to log in from an iPhone with that review? And then from Miami, the user can see that. Like, yeah, that's me. I just tried to log in. Okay, I'm gonna have a approved device, and then you're able to access your account. So that's like another set on top of the multi-factor authentication that we do. So you have your username, password, it's set 2FA, MFA, and we also do device improvements. So it's literally 3 layers there. And then once you're in your account, you say, well, I want to move $100 worth of Bitcoin to my non-custodial wallet. You add a withdrawal address to your account. You add that withdrawal address, you then do it all again. It's like, hey, someone's trying to add a withdrawal address to your account. And then also behind the scenes, there also is AI, machine learning, some other analytics that are going on behind the scenes that are transparent to the user to say, is everything looking the way it should? Like, for example, like there's some weird activity we're noticing that it never logs in from non-Apple devices. So they're trying to drain his entire account. There are times when our team teams will be able to jump in front and stop those types of attacks.
I'd say another thing that comes to mind is like, well, kid normally is checking his app or trading during these particular times, and suddenly at 2 in the morning or some other time zone, he's trying to drain his entire balance.
There's controls that you as a user have at your disposal, then there's controls that you don't have to do anything, but it's based on your behavior, based on activity, you have the ability to intervene and what we call save.
Tier better be lit. That's atrocious. That is atrocious. I dread to read the puns in the comments. Now, he called 911, he fled the scene, but apparently he later returned to take videos of the firefighters. And what makes it worse is that police suggest that this wasn't just some spur of the moment, whoa, 2025, let's light a little fire. No, they suggest that this was a premeditated, and I'm getting a phone call because I always God. The police said that when he went onto the hilltop where he started the fire, he listened to a rap song, the music video of which included objects being lit on fire. And then they said that he was listening to this song on repeat in the days preceding the fire. In addition to that, they also said that the extensive digital evidence that they seized from his devices included an image that he generated on ChatGPT depicting a burning city and people fleeing. That's what he allegedly wanted, and that's exactly what he got. Now, a criminal complaint shows that he will be charged with the destruction of property by means of fire. That's a federal charge. That can be up to 20 years in prison if found guilty. And then on top of that, authorities say that additional charges may be added for those who were killed. And if that is the case, and he is found guilty, he's looking at decades to life. Easily life. But one of the wildest parts that I found about reading this was like, we are in October now. That is 10 months later, I'm sure. And he fled the state. He was living in Florida. So he'd moved. It was 10 months later. I'm sure bro was thinking, sweet, I think we got away with this one. And then suddenly out of nowhere, bam, facing decades in prison. Wild. Moving on. Also, pretty massive news if you haven't heard. Yesterday, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a peace deal. And if you were thinking, oh, we've heard this before and this is not big news, well, let me tell you something. This note handed to Trump right before it was announced is the reason that this Gaza peace plan is different to the ones we've seen before. And here's why. Now, the note was written by Marco Rubio while Trump was in the middle of a roundtable discussing domestic issues. Domestic issues. Why am I smoking? Sorry, Alex, for getting sidetracked. It's one of my favorite things to do, really. What? This supposed to be doing this? Okay. This is not supposed to be happening. How the f*** I shut this off? How the f*** do you turn it off? Holy shit. Oh my god. Stop. What the hell was that? This is dangerous. Why was I never warned about this? Oh my god. I don't think this is possible to record in here now. Can you even see me? This is so smoky. I don't think to breathe in. What the heck? You see, this is the problem with baddie goes out. Lose efforts. I'm just gonna have to continue. Where was I? Smoke machine is banned. I'm sorry, let me get back to it. Now, the cameras in the room were just able to pick up what it said. Very close. We need you to approve a Truth Social post soon so you can announce the deal first. And the reason Trump wanted to be first is because it is his deal. That is what's different about this. And it's actually being treated very differently than the last ceasefire as well. I mean, today, it is pretty much the only thing that the media are talking about, calling it significant and monumental, which they didn't necessarily do for the last one. People in both Israel and Gaza are celebrating. We can see videos of them celebrating after hearing the news. And perhaps one of the reasons why is because for Israel's prime minister, the stakes are very different this time around. See, Netanyahu has long been accused of sabotaging previous peace deals. But crucially, those peace deals didn't necessarily have Trump's name on them. Trump didn't own them like he's owning this one. And many argue that the United States, and its president for that matter, is the only country in the world that could potentially have an influence or pressure Israel to end the war. And I tell you, this time around, Trump has actually been putting a lot of pressure Hamas. So what should, in theory, happen next, now that both sides have agreed on the first phase, is the lost Israeli hostages home by Monday, hundreds of Palestinian prisoners released, the withdrawal of Israeli troops, an influx of aid into Gaza, a stop to the fighting, and potentially even Trump visiting the Middle East himself. That is where days of intense negotiations were taking place to make this happen. Now, will all of those things that I outlined happen? Well, many believe it's not possible because there are still so many very difficult issues that have not yet been agreed. But today, there has been some progress. We're now getting the first images of thousands of people returning to northern Gaza after the Israeli government actually approved and finalized the phase 1 agreement of the ceasefire. Now, many of these individuals will be returning to homes that are reduced to rubble, but what will also be returning into Gaza will be 600 aid trucks carrying food, medical equipment, shelter supplies, fuel, cooking gas, and this will reportedly not just be 600, but 600 trucks a day. The Israeli army said that the truce deal went into effect at 12 p.m. local time, and then in accordance with this deal, they have now begun withdrawing their troops to the agreed upon line. Now, what that also means is that the 72-hour countdown has begun for Hamas to release those 20 hostages who are believed to be alive. And that is really one of the points where if they don't, or if there's any complications in that, then in 72 hours, we're probably going to see it break down.
What guarantees Hamas disarms and that Israel doesn't resume bombing once the hostages are released?
So, hopefully, things go smoothly, but what do you guys think? Is this finally the real deal, or yet another soon to be broken? Let me know your thoughts. Moving on. Also, speaking about Trump, bro is gonna be pissed at this next news. Now, the winner of this year's Nobel Peace Prize has been announced, and it's gone to Maria Machado. And no, that's not how you say Donald Trump in Spanish, okay? Maria is actually the leader of the opposition party in Venezuela, and she's been praised for fighting for democratic rights in the country. The Norwegian Nobel Committee called her a brave and committed champion of peace, since she's had to go into hiding. She's been living in hiding for about a year due to threats against her life. But despite this, she has never fled the country.
Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon. Revelation 12:3.
Once again, an armed attack in the Middle East.
The new will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025. it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. It shall
into hiding. She's been living in hiding for about a year due to threats against her life. But despite this, she has never fled the country.
it shall be announced here at the Nobel Institute that you will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
Now, Trump has been continuously saying that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize because he's ended multiple wars. And then on top of that, these Gaza truce came into effect. And, you know, a lot of people were kind of saying, actually, even the Washington Post, they wrote an article saying, yes, Trump deserves the Peace Prize. In fact, let me quote it for you, because remember, the Washington Post, Washington's a very liberal city. I think it was like over 90% that voted for Kamala. And the writer argued that not only does Donald Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, but there's arguably never been an American president who deserves it more. But one thing to keep in mind for all of those who believe that Trump should have won is that the submissions for the Nobel Peace Prize actually ended in January. And that's just a couple of weeks after Trump took office. So a lot of people are saying that actually next year is Trump's year, if ever, for the Peace Prize. I mean, either way, if Norway gets hit with 100% tariffs tomorrow, we'll know why. Stephen Chung, actually the White House Director of Communications, was one of the first to respond to this decision, and he said the Nobel Committee proved they play politics over peace. President Trump will continue making peace deals, ending wars, and saving lives. He has the heart of a humanitarian, and there will never be anyone like him who moved mountains with the sheer force of his will. So the question is, what do you guys think? Should he have won it? Should he not have won it? Move it up. Also this week, guys, it's happened again. New Zealand's parliament has a...
Alright, the jig is up. Delete ChatGPT, delete Sora, delete any AI apps you have on your phone. Stop your support now. You need to understand something. Pandora's box is 99% of the way opened. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the myth, but once it opens, it cannot close. Oh my god, it's so funny! Jake Paul doing game makeup tutorials. They're making child porn. People are making child pornography. That is nigh indistinguishable from reality. You are going to be framed for something you did not do.
Harry Sisson is one of the worst people on planet Earth.
So this is insane. Democrats in the Senate voted to keep the government closed for the remainder of the weekend, and the question is, are there actually illegal aliens receiving Medicaid? That whole thing is the impetus of our shutdown. And whether you like this or not, it's an undisputed fact that under the Biden administration, there were undocumented immigrants receiving taxpayer-funded health care. Here are the facts. Last year, Medicaid costs for emergency services for illegal aliens skyrocketed 142%, totaling $9.1 billion. 2020 to 2024, So this is insane.
I'm just calling to say, assume that you're very different. Assume that you're
So Donald Trump is not a fascist. If politics makes your brain shut off, I need you to follow this account, okay? This is the only way I was able to get through it. This girl literally breaks down everything you need to know about what's currently going on with Iran and Israel. It gives you the history, everything. I feel like so much safer and smarter and not stressed out when I see her content. Please check her out. Okay, Miss Chloe, yes, she's conservative. If politics makes your brain shut off, I need you to follow this account, okay? This is the only way I was able to get through it.
So how exactly exactly is all of this supposed to end? And by this, I mean this fuck-ass version of life that we've all been sold. Nobody...
This girl literally breaks down.
So this is crazy.
Harry Sisson.
Kratom is being sold across.
My collar's blue and my neck is red. And feet I'm brought under. Car is blue. My car is blue, but instead. Come on, feel the noise. Girl, rock your boy. There's no, no. Come on, feel the noise. Girls, rock your boy. It sounds nice. Let's see. Come on, feel the noise. Girl, rock your bones. R-A-F-C-E, bang. Ah. Ba-bum. Time 9. Main. Yeah, it's a girl. Oh, what the fuck? A panic log has been written. Bruh, what the fuck is that? So you think you wanna turn on a man? Ba-da-da. 'Cause it's girl. accidentally deleted it. That's why. Silly, silly me, silly me. Bruh. Thank you, sir. So I want it to kind of be a line down the middle of the page, and then on the left and right there will be, you know, big headers with either the project or thing that I did, and then there's going to be like a little paragraph describing it, and then there's going to be a GitHub link or some kind of link to what I'm talking about in that time node. So does that all make sense? I also want the color scheme to be dark styled, and then the accent slash primary color is going to be a nice kind of green futuristic color. That's my favorite color, and we're going for kind of a modern techie AI vibe, if that makes sense. So let's get a rough, not a rough draft, but let's make this main page, and then let's just see how it looks, and then go from there. Thank you. Burn, burn, burner, 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 burner. I'd love to change the world.